Hey everyone! So I've gotten questions about my UV resin welding technique, and I've got a hole here in this cauldron. We're gonna go ahead and use this flashlight off of Amazon to solve that problem. I really love this cauldron from Victus. You can find it on Patreon, but it printed out with a little hole right here. And that's something that we can take care of with this technique really easily. So one of the important things here is to make sure that the room you're working in is really dark. We don't want this resin curing on accident. And make sure you store the container from this in a place that's going to be dark as well. So we're going to be using this toothpick like a brush, and the cap from our resin bottle is like the palette. So we're going to go ahead and load up the toothpick here a little bit, and we're just going to apply that resin to the gap in the model. And if you want it to be thinner, you can pull it out across the model. It shouldn't take much in order to fill the gap on this one. Now that the resin is where we want it, we're going to go ahead and use the UV flashlight to cure it in place on the model. This is Elegoo Rapid Gray, and currently it's my preferred resin for printing miniatures. Right now on my Photon, I have an exposure of 6.5 seconds per layer. And it's not a direct correlation here, it's more of a guide. You'll have to learn how your resin reacts to your flashlight and go from there. As you can see, it didn't take much time, and the process is mostly complete. I'll stick this underneath my curing lamp as well, just as I would when processing any fresh print. Here's one of the amazing warriors from the new Amazon Kickstarter by Artisan Guild. I was lucky enough to be a test printer for this project, so I had her here and ready to go. After I clean a little cat hair off of her, we're going to attach her to this base, using the resin as an adhesive. As an aside, always make sure your minis are clean when doing steps like these. It's a constant struggle with cats around. You only need to apply resin to one side of the print, and in this situation, the feet are the obvious choice. Make sure you already have the orientation of the model decided. You don't want to get resin where it doesn't belong. Since I know that already, it's easy to place her exactly where I want to and hold her in place. And then we're going to go ahead and get ready to use the flashlight. In a case like this, we want to be able to make adjustments before finalizing the position, so we're only going to expose for a few seconds at each joint. In welding terms, this would be called a tack weld. This allows me to look at the placement from all angles and make any adjustments that I might want. I like this position, so it's time to secure her in place with more UV light. After this step, just like with the cauldron, I'm going to place her in my UV curing setup just to make sure that she's on there securely. I really can't express how much I love these miniatures, and the Kickstarter is running through October if you're interested. I'll have the link to that Kickstarter below. There's a lot you can do with this technique, so I wanted to show you this wagon from Black Squirrel Games. It's a total of 10 pieces, and I put it together entirely using this method. One thing I did here was I made sure that the top was still removable. It's going to make it a whole lot easier to paint in the end. And right here you can see the drain holes that I put in there, because I did make this piece hollow. So when is this technique really useful? Here's when. This awesome warrior is a part of the Amazon's Kickstarter, and you can download her yourself right now. This is an ideal situation for this technique because, as you can see, there's not a lot of contact between her and the base thanks to the momentum in the pose. Now, traditionally, I would have to take a pin vise and come up through the base in order to secure her with a pin. And there's no way to do that here without it showing. That's really it. Thanks for watching, and if you try out this technique, leave comments below about your experience. Links to the UV light, the Amazon Kickstarter, and the associated Patreons are below. Hey, have fun with this technique, everyone. I really look forward to hearing from you.